The McGuire Twins, with a combined weight of almost 1,500 pounds, held the Guinness Book Record for being the heaviest recorded twins. But it's their professional wrestling career and mini-bike routines that made them famous. Today we remember the talented McGuire Twins and help to keep their memory alive. Billy Leon and Benny Lloyd McCrary, later changed to Maguire, were born on December 7, 1946 to humble parents William and Ethel McCrary in Henderson, North Carolina. Both babies were of normal weight and size up until the age of 4 when they contracted rubella, the German measles. The illness took a heavy, no pun intended, toll on the pair, affecting their pituitary glands, causing them to gain weight. Regardless of how little they ate or how much exercise they did, the weight continued to pile on. Obviously concerned, their parents bought a farm, thinking the fresh country air and daily animal tending would help to get the twins' weight in check. They were also on a strict dietary intake restriction of 1,000 calories a day. But even this didn't help. By now their ever-growing girth caused them to tire easily, and they often used their motorbikes to complete their farm chores, instead of walking the long distances between stalls and out in the fields. By age 10 the pair weighed in at 200 pounds each, and by age 16, their weight had ballooned to just over 600 pounds each, putting undue stress on their heart, bones, and especially their self-esteem. They were well known in their community and stood out among the locals, who often stared and even pointed them out as a freakish curiosity. Filled with frustration and exhausted from the daily taunts of the children at school, the twins decided to quit school at the age of 16 and set out for Texas, where they became involved with livestock branding. But the work was hard, and the money they made didn't go very far. As fate would have it, while the twins were riding their motorbikes in a local Hendersonville parade, they were asked if they would be interested in making appearances at motorcycle shops around the state to drum up business. The twins jumped at the chance, and it was during one of these events in Greensboro that led to them being discovered. Daily News photographer John Page snapped a picture of the two, and it went on to be published in Time magazine, a massively popular media outlet during that time. After this, the calls from various show business venues poured in over the following weeks, and the two decided their best bet was to use their enormous weight to their advantage. If people were going to stare anyways, they might as well get paid for it. Devising an act incorporating their motorbikes, the twins signed on with Circus Las Vegas, where they performed their routine for 3 years. They also played the trumpet, told jokes to the audience, and shared the stage with a 400-pound go-go dancer named TV Mama. And the public loved them. As Billy put it when asked what led them to such a career choice, he replied, "Let's face it, what other kind of work could we do?" The twins' parents were adamantly against their performing for the public, fearing the constant belittling and being laughed at would negatively affect them. But the twins felt just the opposite. They enjoyed performing and felt the fame they garnered was a blessing. In 1970, their fame grew expeditiously when they were featured in the Guinness Book of Records, propelling them to international notoriety. 1975 saw the twins road tripping from New York to Los Angeles as part of a huge publicity promotion for Honda. The pair would perform routines on the motorbikes to the delight and astonishment of onlookers. It was at a stop-off in El Paso, Texas, where they met Gory Guerrero, the father of legendary WE champion Eddie Guerrero, setting them on the path to becoming wrestling champs in their own right. Guerrero was impressed with Billy and Benny's agility despite their enormous size, and knew that they would serve as formidable opponents in a wrestling ring. Being wrestling fans themselves, the twins didn't need a lot of convincing when Guerrero put an offer out to train them at his gym in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. In December 1971, after they finished their road trip, they entered the ring against Bull Ramos and Cyclone Negro in their debut professional wrestling match. Although they lost their first match, the 25-year-olds would go on to enjoy successful careers, traveling the world and going up against many famous wrestlers of the era. Of course, we didn't take bumps like the average wrestler, so he worked out a routine for us. Guys run against us and fall down. They come in and try to give us a body slam. We turn around and give them one instead. Benny told Inside Wrestling magazine in 1998. Eventually the twins signed on with Canada's George "Crybaby" Cannon and were touring all over the United States, wrestling in numerous notable promotions. Under the National Wrestling Alliance in 1974 through 1976. 1977 and 1978 saw the participation in several matches, organized by New Japan Pro Wrestling, where they defeated other well-known wrestling tag teams, including Kantaro Hoshino and Seiji Sakaguchi, as well as Osamu Kido and Riki Choshu. During their time in Japan, they used the stage name Maguire, as the Japanese ring announcers found it easier to pronounce. Billy and Benny used their size to their advantage in the ring, wowing fans with finishing moves such as the Tupelo Splash, where one of them would belly flop on a downed opponent. They also used the Steamroller, where one of them would roll back and forth over an opponent. Together they would team up performing the Maguire Sandwich, crushing an opponent between their enormous girth. Crushing them. It wasn't unusual for the twins to wrestle up to 12 other wrestlers at a time. However, the pair always won. At 750 pounds and towering at over 7 feet, they were impossible to lift and just as hard to bring down. Crowds marveled at Billy and Benny's impressive display of power moves, and their domination over their opponents made for legendary matches. The next few years, the twins performed all over the world, gaining more and more fans at each stop. But all this traveling came with a cost. The twins had extreme difficulties with flying. Their massive size meant they had to purchase 2 side-by-side seats for each of them, which, while being expensive, also meant they were extremely uncomfortable the entire trip. Then there was also the issue of being unable to fit into the plane's small bathroom, meaning they were forced to hold off until the plane landed. Not only was this hard on their kidneys, but during long flights their feet and legs would often become swollen and painful. The twins found it hard to maintain a healthy lifestyle during this time, due to the demand their schedule required. By 1976, problems with their joints, coupled with the demanding nature of professional wrestling, forced them to take a break from the sport. After Billy battled a severe case of pneumonia, developing a blood clot in his lung, he was hospitalized for several weeks, coming close to losing his life. The twins often traveled with their wives, which proved stressful for Benny's marriage to his wife Marcy, causing them to separate and ultimately divorce in the early 1970s. Billy was married to Marcy's sister Danielle, having met her during their time in Montreal, Canada. In 1977, Benny would go on to marry amateur female wrestler Tammy Alley, and the couple would remain married for the rest of his life. After making the difficult decision to leave wrestling, Billy and Benny returned to doing what they had always loved, riding and performing on their Honda motorbikes. Sadly, it was due to one of these performances that Billy would lose his life. On July 14, 1979, while on their way to Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, Billy died following a motorcycle accident in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. He was 32 years old. Unsure of what to do next, Benny went back to wrestling, partnering up with popular wrestler Andre the Giant. But without Billy, his attempted comeback never took back off, leaving him to retire from the sport altogether. Returning back to his hometown of Henderson, North Carolina, Benny opened a pawn shop and worked part-time as an auctioneer. Later, he moved to Walkertown, North Carolina, where he went to work for the Christian Golfers Ministry. In his last years, Benny became bedridden after the cartilage in his knees wore out, leading to his death from heart failure in 2001 at the age of 54. Bringing an end to the world-famous McGuire Twins, wrestling legends and acclaimed performers who found joy making people smile. even though it was often due to their enormous size. Benny and Billy are buried side by side at Crab Creek Baptist Church Cemetery near Hendersonville. Their 13-foot wide headstone, complete with depictions of Honda motorcycles, is inscribed, "The world's largest twins." The lasting legacy of the McGuire twins is undeniable, not only in the wrestling industry, but also in popular culture. They challenge society's idealistic view on larger-than-life individuals, in size and what they accomplished. Their bravery in quashing what people told them was possible paved the way for other performers and wrestlers alike with atypical attributes, a path to succeed. Their contribution remains an important piece of wrestling history, inspiring others still today. Are you a fan of wrestling? If so, who is your favorite wrestler? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe to catch every episode where we dive into the celebrity afterlife.